The aroma of barbecue drifted across the backyard, blending with the sound of forced laughter at my sister's annual family cookout. It was the kind of late summer gathering where everyone arrived dressed in expensive casual clothes, smiling as though we were one big happy family. My 15-year-old son, Alex, sat beside me at the picnic table, quietly working his way through a burger. Alex is autistic, and social situations had always been difficult for him. Even so, he was incredibly gifted with computers, endlessly kind, and possessed a level of honesty that many adults never develop. "So, Alex," my sister Amanda announced, making sure everyone at the table could hear her, "how's school? Are you still taking those special classes?" Without lifting his eyes from his plate, Alex nodded. "Yeah, they're good. I really like my programming class." "Programming?" Amanda replied, using the patronizing voice she had mastered over the years. "That's nice, very practical. At least you'll always have something to occupy your time." Her husband, Greg, laughed quietly. Their 3 children sat at the opposite end of the table in designer outfits, barely looking up from their phones. Perfect grades, endless activities, prestigious schools. Amanda never missed an opportunity to remind everyone how exceptional they supposedly were. "Actually," I interrupted, "Alex recently won a regional coding competition. He competed against more than 200 students." Amanda smiled politely, though there was no warmth behind it. "That's adorable. Participation awards really matter for kids like him. They help build confidence." "It wasn't a participation award," I replied, keeping my voice steady. "He won first place." "Oh, sure, in his division," she said, dismissing it with a wave of her hand. "But let's be honest, Alex is always going to need extra help, special accommodations, support systems. That's simply the reality." The conversation around the table died instantly. My mother suddenly became very interested in the grill. My brother and his wife focused intently on their food. Amanda's 3 children glanced up for a moment before returning to their screens. Across from me, Alex stopped eating. His burger rested untouched on the plate. I recognized the tightness in his jaw immediately. It was the expression he wore whenever he was fighting back tears. "I'm only saying what everyone knows," Amanda continued, encouraged by nobody challenging her. "Not every child is extraordinary. Some need more assistance than others. It isn't anyone's fault, but parents have to be realistic about what the future will look like. Right, Greg?" Greg nodded. "Amanda is only trying to help. She volunteers at the school, so she understands these situations." "Exactly," Amanda said, proudly. "I see children like this all the time, kids who will always depend on family, who may never truly live on their own, who need constant support, and there's nothing wrong with that." Then she laughed, that bright, cheerful laugh she always used when disguising cruelty as concern. A few uncomfortable chuckles spread around a table. I looked at Alex. His face had turned red, his eyes locked on his plate. For 15 years, people had underestimated him. They had judged him before getting to know him, decided what he could and couldn't accomplish, treated him as though he were less capable than everyone else. And now his own aunt was casually reducing his future to a list of limitations. "Maybe you're right," I said quietly, placing my fork down. Amanda looked pleased with herself. "I'm glad you're willing to hear it. I know these things are difficult, but facing reality now is better than being disappointed later." "Would you excuse me for a minute?" I asked as I stood. "I need to make a phone call." I walked inside, even though my phone was still sitting on the table outside. I didn't need to call anyone. What I needed was distance, just enough time to stop myself from saying something I couldn't take back. Standing in the kitchen, I stared through the window into the backyard. Amanda had become the center of attention, no doubt continuing her lecture. My mother looked deeply uncomfortable but remained silent. Alex had left the table and was sitting alone on the porch steps. I reached into my bag, pulled out my laptop, opened my email, and began to type. The next morning, at exactly 8:30, my phone started ringing. I was in the kitchen making breakfast when Amanda's name appeared on the screen. I ignored the first call. Then came another, and another. Finally, I answered. "What did you do?" Amanda demanded. Her voice was sharp and frantic, unlike anything I had heard from her before. "Good morning, Amanda," I said calmly. "What's wrong?" "St. Augustine Academy just called. They told me the scholarship funding for all 3 of my children has been canceled. Do you know anything about this?" I slowly poured myself a cup of coffee. "Why would I know anything about your children's scholarships?" "Because," she stopped abruptly. "Wait, the anonymous donor who has been paying 70% of their tuition for the last 4 years, that was you, wasn't it?" "I have no idea what you're talking about," I answered evenly. "Stop pretending," her voice cracked. "St. Augustine charges $45,000 per child every year. There's no way we could afford to keep all 3 kids there without that scholarship. The school said the benefactor withdrew the funding immediately." "That's unfortunate," I replied, taking a slow sip of coffee. "Have you thought about public school? I hear their special education programs are excellent." For several seconds, Amanda said nothing. "This is because of yesterday, isn't it?" she finally asked, her voice strained. "Because of what I said to Alex?" "I can't remember you saying anything especially important," I answered calmly. "I was only being honest. I was trying to help you have realistic expectations. And I'm simply being realistic about my own finances," I said. "I've decided I need to think more carefully about where my money goes." Then I added, "Actually, there's something else you should know. I've stopped the monthly transfers to your account." Silence filled the line again. "The $5,000? Amanda asked quietly. "Yes, the same $5,000 I've been sending every month for the last 3 years. If my math is correct, that comes to around $180,000. I kept records of everything in case you need them." "But that money was supposed to be—" "We thought it was—" "You thought it was what?" I asked. "Inheritance money, some kind of trust from Grandma?" I almost laughed. "No, Amanda, that was me helping my sister every time she complained about private school tuition, about maintaining the lifestyle she loved showing off, about how Greg's salary wasn't enough to cover everything." I could hear her breathing hard. "Oh, and there's one more thing," I continued. "I called the country club this morning and canceled the family membership that I've been paying for. I believe that costs around $15,000 a year. I'm sure the 2 of you can figure something out." "You can't do this," Amanda said, but there was very little confidence left in her voice. "Actually, I can, just as easily as you chose to insult my son while benefiting from my generosity." "I never meant— I mean, Alex is a good kid. I only what?" I interrupted. "Being honest? Being realistic? Interesting how honesty seems to work in one direction in this family." At that moment, someone knocked on my front door. Looking through the window, I saw my mother's car parked outside. "I have to go, Amanda. Good luck with the school issue. I'm told public schools offer excellent programs for students with all kinds of needs. Very inclusive." I ended the call before she could answer. My mother was standing on the porch, looking equal parts angry and worried. "Amanda just called me in tears. She says you've cut off all your financial support. What is going on? Would you like some coffee?" "Don't change the subject. Why are you doing this?" I handed her a cup and sat down across from her. "Did Amanda tell you what she said to Alex yesterday?" "She said she was just being realistic about his future. She thinks he misunderstood her." "Mom, she stood in front of the entire family and told a 15-year-old boy that he would never be independent, that he would always need someone to take care of him. Then she laughed." My mother let out a tired sigh. "She didn't mean it like that." "Then how did she mean it?" I asked. "Alex spent an hour crying in his room after we got home."
So your answer is to punish her financially? No, I'm choosing to stop enabling someone who believes it's acceptable to humiliate my child. For years, Amanda had built her life on money she hadn't earned, the expensive two-way with that arrangement that she felt entitled to look down on the very people making it possible. But her children are the ones who will suffer, my mother said quietly. St. Augustine is a wonderful school. Her children will be fine. Public schools educate millions of kids every year, and if Amanda and Greg truly want the lifestyle they've chosen, then they can figure out how to pay for it themselves. That's what adults do. My mother stared into her coffee.